Hey there guys, what's going on? So it's been a little while since the last really true review I've managed to put up here on my channel, but after all the business with unboxing, vinyl, ultra vinyl LP breakdowns, and other musical and experimental segments, I've returned to what I arguably do best, namely, giving you, the extra special, amazing, awesome viewer, my humble opinion of things. And in today's little installment, as has been the theme with a bunch of videos you may or may not have seen here recently on the Vinyl Corner, we're catching up on a little bit of overdue workload. Ordinarily, perhaps, I might just skip to the next chapter and not go over old ground like this, but this is an ultra important review for me now that I'm not on hiatus. It could very easily be a top 10 or top 5 contender for Album of the Year, so you, yes, you right there, in the hat and the monocle, need to stop and hear about this one. Today we're going to talk about Damon Albarn, who's commonly known as the creative front and center man for the bands Blur, The Good, the Bad, and the Queen, and Gorillaz over the last couple of decades. At the end of this past month, however, he abandoned his band member status, and at long last released his first tried and true solo album, dubbed Everyday Robots, which is a record he himself dubbed as something more personally direct in its approach, hence why it could be a real solo effort. Anyway, now that we're through the business of brief introductions, it's time to get into the beating heart of this particular beast, and I, for one, am definitely excited about getting to this one. So, without any further possible delay, here's my review of Damon Albarn and his solo record, Everyday Robots. You will definitely not regret tuning into this one. If there could be one decidedly resolute narrative within Damon Albarn's Everyday Robots record, it would fall smoothly within the territory of just one word: technology. The breakdown of human communication, the separation of intimacy, the LCDs and deleting histories and ringback tones. It's a subject delved into by everyone from Radiohead to pundits filled with more hot air than good sense. But Damon tries his hand at it as well. Unfortunately for the listener and all of us out there, it doesn't come off as half-baked. Rather than trying to make his solo debut an overtly cautionary tale, or tired conceptual piece that's been more than said at this point, Everyday Robots dances the line between the organic and the artificial. The tinkling piano, swelling string sections, and swooning guitar lines doing battle against disembodied vocal samples and bits of synthesizer. It twists, turns, segues, and forms into a piece of music that is as blissfully haunting as it is elusive to define. Because as much as Albarn claims to have made a record that's a more personal view within himself, most references are buried in enough metaphor and circumstance to make it difficult to pin down anything concrete. Hollow Ponds references dates that were meaningful in life around him growing up in Britain. Photographs You Are Taking Now describes a strangely reoccurring dream out on the black sands, and scattered drug references make one ponder how close they come to Albarn's beaten addiction to heroin, but nothing seems close enough to really know. However, not all the material here is simply dark, depressing, or potentially autobiographical, though that stuff is pretty damn good, but more on that later. Mr. Tembo is a downright joyful, gospel choir-assisted track about the true plight of a baby elephant who came into a religious African settlement as an orphan, and Heavy Seas of Love is an uplifting duet, per se, with famed producer/musician Brian Eno, that acts as sort of an assuring and inspiring closer with all that radiance that's in you. After the meet in the middle of Everyday Robots, it feels like a warm embrace to the lost souls Albarn lays out within the spell of their own uncertainty. From Moko Jambi to Those That Have the TV On But Nothing Is in Their Eyes, equal sides of both light and dark are embraced within their context on this record. Though for as good as The Selfish Giant and You and Me are, the real standout of slow-burning heartbreakers is, well, the history of a cheating heart, which compared to another review I just did, feels like a real, actual, defined weight of a heavy confessional, set to little more than a circular guitar pattern and a delicate ebb and flow of strings. When Albarn sings the last line, "The history of my heart was shown, it's more than you know," it just hits that emotional mark with a full broadside. And while I won't say that Everyday Robots is something radically new or altered from the norm, there's something I've gained from many repeated listens that makes its presentation, from lyrics to instrumentation to Damon's vocals, insanely appealing. Songs like the title track, Heavy Seas of Love, and Lonely Press Play spoke to me from the first time they were released, and whether it was because of their rhythm, great harmonies, or the hooks, something just immediately clicked into place. In a year of music that's looking like one without a lot of insanely great contenders, this is one of the freshest and best sounding records of 2014, hands down. My favorites from this one are, well, pretty much all of the aforementioned you've heard about here in length so far. I'll bring the gushing to a close, however, and sum it all up as such. While I'm not a Blur or Gorillaz enthusiast, in fact, I know little of Damon's material prior to this point, I'm quite impressed with his output here on Everyday Robots. While it may not be the type of music everyone is seeking out, I think it infuses a rewarding blend of gospel, R&B, alternative, piano balladry, and experimental quirk to make it flow rather brilliantly. Definitely go check it out, and don't miss this one if you can help it. I give Everyday Robots, surprisingly perhaps, a 10 out of 10. But that's it, and that's all for me here in my review of Damon Albarn and his new solo record, Everyday Robots. I hope you enjoyed this latest piece of work from yours truly. Make sure to like this video, like the page, aka subscribe to it, and anything else you see fitting under the sun. I'm continuing to take the world by storm here in 2014, guys, so keep it here for much more very soon.